of Capitol Hill demonstration, which took place in the aftermath of Biden's election, or Fort Sumter's attack, a U.S. garrison military base in South Carolina? Does anybody know it and the actions taken by the American government? Unprecedented attack had taken place against national sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ethiopia by terrorist TPLF 2 years ago. And the problem still lingers today with multiple ramifications. Which country keeps silent and remains adamant while its national sovereignty is at stake? But what do you hear from Western media? Ethiopian government killing Tigrayans, severe human rights violations by the Ethiopian government, or the propaganda of Tigray genocide? Hello and welcome to ETV World. I'm Tabitha John. In today's program, we will examine how the Western media downplay the brutal truth and ventilate the false propaganda of terrorist TPLF. Do stay with us. The military operations of the Ethiopian National Defense Force as an attack on the people of Tigray, the mainstream media channels have no problem turning a blind eye to the atrocities that the terrorist TPLF carried out for the last 2 years. Their hoax and obscure news reports cannot overshadow the truth of Ethiopians. In the Amhara and Afar regions, the TPLF commits widespread and systematic looting and destruction of public and private institutions, including schools, health posts, cooperatives, churches, mosques, and even offices of non-governmental organizations. Why is this not presented by the Western media houses? Why is this not sounded again and again? The terrorists had at one point recently advanced to Debrecen town, pilfering along the way but nothing. Meanwhile, when the government, and rightly so, responds to an attack by a terrorist organization, pen is put to paper faster than ever. The operations of the ENDF to mitigate the attacks of a terrorist organization in partnership with the Amhara militia is presented as an allied force aiding the ENDF in its attack of the Tigray people. Tigray people? Are the Tigray people summed up in one terrorist group? Is terrorist TPLF a representation of Tigray? Well, of course not, but that is what they would like you to believe. TPLF moves with the people of Tigray before and behind it, sitting safely in the middle, being shielded by them, ready to escape if possible. The leadership of TPLF, backed by their neo-colonial masters, are sure that they will remain unscathed. But that's not the case for the civilians of Tigray. Print and electronic medias like the New York Times, CNN, AP, Daily Telegraph, Le Monde, BBC, and The Guardian are doing terrorist TPLF's bidding and making enormous efforts to undermine the Ethiopian government. Why? These medias are serving the interests of their masters, whereby undermining Ethiopia's territorial integrity. In their reporting, they describe Ethiopia into multiple groups: ENDF, allied forces, Amhara militias. Are they not one? Who are these allied forces? Regional states of Ethiopia? Tell for those Western medias who echo systematic and organized campaign against Ethiopia that all U.S. armies from all the states are Americans, rather not representing states where he or she comes from. Let them understand the federal structure of Ethiopia, which is composed of all regions. Is Amhara not a part of Ethiopia? But one thing is clear: the principle of sovereign equality. On April 12, 1861, forces from the Confederate States of America attacked the United States military garrison at Fort Sumter, South Carolina. The battle, however, started the Civil War, the bloodiest conflict in American history. When new President Abraham Lincoln, in office just over a month, told South Carolina's governor that he too would try to supply U.S. troops at the fort, South Carolina demanded all U.S. troops evacuate Fort Sumter immediately. President Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers to put down the rebellion, while 4 more states joined the Confederacy. The dubious motives of the Western media has been made clearer ever since the war broke out in Ethiopia. Backing the terrorist TPLF, providing morale, and undermining Ethiopia. Who can forget the horrendous interview that Becky Anderson of CNN carried out with Bilene Siyum, and the one with terrorist spokesperson Getachew Redda? Out for blood with the former and basically cradling the latter. It is truly a disgrace in the face of journalism. The TPLF is confident in carrying out its atrocities because it knows that it has the backing of the Western media. Its mates are geared up to defend its actions in the name of the people of Tigray. Their destructive military intervention that have left a colossal mess everywhere it set foot. Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, and Yemen. What happened to their so-called war on terror after 9/11? Why is it that the West and its media are lying so comfortably in bed with terrorists? When the TPLF triggered yet another round of war and the ENDF acted in accord, they rushed to the screens to reiterate their concerns. The coordinated media campaign of the West is nothing but propaganda against Ethiopia. In the meantime, though, the rest of the world needs to understand the detrimental impact that the Western media outlets have on the continuation of the crimes of the TPLF and the suffering of the people in Tigray, Amhara, and Afar, among others. This is lived example for those Western medias who want to deviate from the truth. But when does their lies, misinformation, and fabricated news reporting stop? And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up this segment of ETV World. Make sure to follow us and subscribe to our social media for more captivating content that circle on national, continental, and international issues. Goodbye for now.